Roxo Media House.
From the Flying T Club studios here at Roxo Media House, this is Frogs Today. Camp season continues with track and field, tennis, and several others. Women's soccer adds 2 more pro Frogs to the growing list of next-level professionals. And State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon finishes up Season 2 as men's basketball wraps up their roster for next season. It's Friday, June 14th, and I'm your host, Blake Now with TCU Football.
And I'm Brent Matiscik with football as well. And we will dive right into track and field and head coach Khadivas Robinson on his team's success this year, culminating at the NCAA Championships in Eugene.
We visited with Robinson at his Nike track and field camp this week, as well as heads men's tennis coach David Roditi at his camp right across the parking lot, and they gave us their summary of the special years they had.
Women's soccer stars Gracie and Lauren Kellett are going pro. They started out together when they were 8 years old, and we take a look at what that journey has been like as they start the next chapters of their soccer careers as professionals.
State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon's season finale is tonight, and we will preview that show and more with men's basketball.
All that and more after a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back after this break.
Go Frogs!
Energy does everything for us. It's all-encompassing.
We're all benefiting and affected from it.
And it is something that we all need to know about.
It is the glue that holds everything together.
TCU is powering what matters, our future.
We don't just talk about what's needed, we focus on results.
The Ralph Lowe Energy Institute is creating a world where energy is affordable, sustainable, and reliable.
Welcome back into the Flying T Club studio. I'm your host, Blake Now from TCU Football. Let's get right into it, starting with our track and field team that just returned from Eugene, site of the 2024 NCAA Outdoor National Championship. 9 athletes competed, and we welcome 9 All-Americans. We visited the Loudon Track and Field Complex this week during the Nike Track and Field Camp and caught up with head coach Khadivas Robinson on his overwhelming excitement for his team's success this season.
The event went really well in Eugene. We had some representation on both the men and women's side that we've probably not had in a long time, if ever, right? We had, Joel did a good job for us in the deck. I can't remember the last time we had a decathlete or a heptathlete at the national championships. Joel came and he represented really, really well for us there and had some good performances. And that's what we was looking for when he first came. And so for him to finish up and really help us out and give us some representation. The big thing that I wanted to do here is obviously TCU's always been a sprint school. We've always done well in the sprints. But I did want it to be more of a full, complete team, and I think, we did that. Not only did Joe do it in an event that we hadn't had in a while, which is with the decathlon, we had Irene, who's All-American, who scored in the javelin, and that's some representation that we had also that we hadn't had before. So really excited about that. Obviously, she's only a freshman. She'll be back next year, so we're looking for her to improve. Along in the javelin, we had Maria, who made nationals and was, I think second team All-American or something like that, but she'll be back next year, and we're looking for her to improve. And, Maria and Irene did a great job for us this year by, making it to the national championships. And then, along with Joe, we had, Cash, who did a great job in the 200, really lowered his PR and to be one of the premier 200-meter runners in the nation and making it there. And then also Gracie Morris, obviously, has been doing well, last 2 years for us. She made it in the individual event, ran 4:10, man, ran really, really fast, broke her own school record, and then 2 days later went out to Portland and ran 4:08, got her Olympic trials qualifier. So, she's doing great, and we look forward to seeing her, represent TCU at the Olympic trials and lowering her personal best. So, we had our 4x1 women's team, with T and Bree and Driana and Ayana and Michaela, and those ladies ran right close to our school record in the 4x1 and really ran fast, and one of the premier meets for as time is concerned for them to do that, working together. This is their first year working together. All of those ladies will return next year, so we're really excited about what they bringing in. And obviously we had a really, really good recruiting class, so we're really excited about that. And then, T made it as a freshman, a true freshman, made it in the open 200, which, that says a lot about her commitment and what she brings to the table. And so she got a good experience from from that. And then Ayana, made it not only in the 4x1, she made it in the 200 and the 100, ran really fast in the 200, kind of missed out on the finals by a little bit, and then made it to the finals in the 100. And all of those ladies returned. So our national meet was really much better than it was the first year, my first year here, and, pretty much the first year for our staff to be together. So to have that type of representation, for everybody to go there and compete at their top level. We're really expecting to have, more and better performances next season, but we're excited where we're at. As you can tell, when you look at the group we took to nationals, we have sprinters, we have jumpers, we have multis, we have throwers, we had distance runners. We had a little bit of everything on each side. And that was my goal coming in, was to have a full-fledged team, a full-fledged representation on the field, on the track, and also in the classroom. And we want to continue to build on that.
The track and field program is a complete program from top to bottom, from freshmen to seniors and the coaching staff. It is important for this experience to be rewarding and to be carried on forever.
Sports is supposed to be fun, and this is also an experience for all the student athletes. We all maybe want to make it to go pro or become Olympians, but the reality is everyone's not going to make that. But the reality is also that we want to have this experience carry on with us for the rest of our lives. So one thing I wanted to do was make sure I had a team and teams in which we had representation in everything. I wanted throwers to come here and feel like we cared about the throws. I wanted jumpers to come here and feel like we cared about the jumps. I wanted distance runners and sprinters and everybody to feel like that they can come here and feel valued on the field, no matter what discipline that they was partaking in. And that's what we had. And I have some staff that I think, of course they can coach. This is a Power 5 Division I school. TCU's upper echelon. They do everything, what I would say the right way. Great facilities, great professors, great administrators, all those types of things. And I wanted coaches that represented. I wanted coaches that was going to be emphasizing the classroom part, but also emphasizing just life. Sometimes I think we get so caught up and trying to perform well and do well, we forget that it's a sport and you're supposed to have fun, right? It's supposed to be a memory and have fun. So I needed coaches to understand that it's not going to be a win at all costs here, right? We want to win, we want to do well, but you have to do well in the classroom also. You have to be a part of a team, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. We want this to feel like that if one person or one group does well, we all win and we all do well. We want it to feel that, and that's what I wanted to build, because when I was here and I was a student athlete here, I feel like we was a family. That made my experience here something special. That's what I want. So my coaches, Coach Chu has done such an amazing job. Coach Price, Coach Edgar, and myself, and Roger. Obviously, Roger was one of my athletes at LSU. I coached him directly. And then we got Coach Hughes, our throws coach, who was also an athlete at LSU when I was a coach there. I really want this to be a family atmosphere, and the reality is it is a job, so you have to compete and you have to do well. But I don't want my staff feeling like they're coming and feeling like they're dreading any part of it. I want them to feel like it felt when we were in high school, and I want when I was a kid, coaching and coaches was an extension of the family, right? And that's why we loved it so much. Our parents knew that if they was a little late picking us up, that we were going to be fine with our coaches, right? And if you ask a lot of kids who they get advice from or who their mentors and who motivated them and gave them confidence, a lot of times they say coaches. That's what I want this to be, right? And so if we can do that, if I can have my student athletes, maybe not all of them because, it is somewhat competitive, but if I can have my student athletes feel about me the way I feel and felt about my coaches, then I feel like that's a success, no matter if they win a national championship or not. That's kind of my goal, and I think I have some staff on board that feels the same way, that really cares about the athletes and that really enjoy coaching.
Robinson continued on about the goals of TCU, the athletic department, and the goals of the track and field program, and why TCU is unique.
You have to look at what the overall goals are, right? So we're not just TCU track and field, and we're not like in our own little bubble or silo, right? We are a part of TCU. We are a part of the university. We are a part of Fort Worth. I'm from Fort Worth. I went to Fort Worth Trimble Tech, which is like 10 minutes away from here, right? You go all the way down Berry, I'm from 7 minutes away. I love Fort Worth. I love TCU, right? And TCU, the university itself, has a strategic plan. There are plans and goals that the university itself has that we are a part of. So we can't lose sight of the goals of the university and the goals of the athletic department, right? And I've been fortunate enough to have worked at, big programs, small programs, mid-majors, and all those types of things. And I've been blessed, right? But the one thing you have to understand is that each university and each school and each program, each sport has its own distinct culture and things that's super important to them. And TCU has always been unique. That's why I really enjoyed it. That's why I really liked it when I was here, because there are some things about TCU that's very unique and special. People always ask me, man, you went to school in your hometown, you didn't get away from home. I'm like, well, no, it's totally, even though I'm only 15 minutes away, it's like I'm in a totally different environment and a totally different culture, and you feel welcomed. You really do feel welcome. And I tell you this, when I was, trying out and trying to make Olympic teams, I missed 2 and made 2, but when I missed 2 Olympic teams, I had professors that I was in class with here that was my main supporters that was cheering me on, saying, man, we really was rooting for you to go to make it, and we was crying and we felt bad for you when you didn't make it. That's what TCU's about. That's our advantage, I guess you would say. It's not just, we got great facilities. We got great athletes. Our tennis team just won a national championship. The majority of our teams are in, are making, last year our baseball team was in the World Series and our football team was in the national. We have all of that, right? Of course, we have some of the best professors in the nation, one of the top academic schools. All of those things are in place, and those make TCU great. But what makes TCU special is the people. Because when you come here, you're going to be a Horned Frog for life, no matter if you end up being an Olympian or not. And that's what I felt when I was getting recruited by the coaches, and that's what I felt, as being a student athlete here, that, if I do well, great, but if I don't, I'm still a Horned Frog, and they're still going to be proud of me. And I guarantee you, those football players, when the national championship game might not have gone the way they wanted to, I bet they felt that also. That's what makes TCU special, and that's why I love it.
Ayanna Gray was awarded 3 All-American honors last week in the 100, 200, and 4x1, followed by her teammates Tiana Harlan, Daruna Washington, and Michaela Hayes, as the 4x100-meter squad runs a season-best 43.39 to finish 11th and earn second-team All-American honors. Gracie Morris earned second-team honors as well, ending her TCU career with another PR and school record in the 1500-meter at 4:08.94. Joel McFarland represented TCU at Nationals in the decathlon, a first for that event, earning honorable mention All-American, along with Cassie Crockett and Harlan in the 200-meter and Maria Bienaview in the javelin. Also in javelin, Irene Jepkimboy finishes 4th overall and earned first-team All-American honors, the first women's javelin All-American in program history. Lots to be proud of for Coach Robinson and his men's and women's program in indoor and outdoor track and field. We'll be right back with my teammate Brent Matiscik after this break.
We're lucky to have a collective that's as strong and as powerful as the Flying T Club. It's a big deal for us. It is a game changer. I would just encourage any fans out there to support it. Everyone asks me, what's the biggest priority? And I say, NIL is big. Please jump on board, show these student athletes how much they mean to you. The thing about NIL is I think there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and the Flying T Clubs do it the right way. Let's keep winning. Join the Flying T Club today.
Welcome back, Horned Frog Nation, from the Flying T Club studios here at Roxo Media House in Clear Fork. I'm Brent Matiscik with TCU Football. There's lots of excitement in our track and field program, and right across the parking lot at the Bayard H. Friedman Tennis Complex, the tennis camp was underway, led by head men's tennis coach David Roditi, with 2 nationally recognized programs running summer camps simultaneously. The message was the same for both Roditi and Robinson on what they wanted their campers to get out of their summer camps.
Really communicate with the coaches and ask questions. And don't just leave here and not reconnect. You might have questions here, some you worked on, and you go back home and you go back and you might have some more questions. Send some emails and get some follow-up questions too.
But we also touch a lot on what does it mean to be part of a team and be a better team member and communication. I feel like this generation, communication-wise, because of the phones, they're not as outspoken, not as willing to speak up. And maybe it's the age, the high school age, middle school age, they're embarrassed to say the wrong thing. So a lot of leadership skills. We touch on that. We play games from 11:30 to 12. They're team games, but it's all about how do you show up and how do you represent who you are and not afraid of being who you are and speaking up and participating and encouraging your teammates and effort.
At the end of the day, we're coaches, right? And coaches like helping. They like coaching. They like sharing. That's why we get into coaching. You know, we get into it because we have this base. We want to really help people. We feel like we have some information that we can share. I want these kids to say, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do my drive phase, right? And I'm doing the best I can, but for some reason I keep coming up too early. How do I stay down for my drive phase for the full 20 meters? I want them to say, how do I get my rotation or my spin a little bit better when I'm throwing the discus? Or how do I learn, it's counterintuitive to say when I'm doing a high jump, I have to lean away from the bar even though I'm going to jump toward the bar, over the bar. How do you do that? So I want them to ask those hard questions and give our coaches the opportunity to answer those questions. And if you can get those questions answered and learn those little tidbits of information, then I think you've gotten the benefit from that, from this camp.
We have a saying that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So the way you show up on tennis camp is probably the way you show up in the classroom or the way you show up with your family. So we touch. That's my favorite part. It's just, I know the tennis will come and go. Some of them love it. Some of them probably the parents didn't know where to put them. So they're here and tennis is not that important. But I do know that life and leadership skills and communication skills, regardless of what they do, is important. So we make a big deal out of it.
So I want them to remember this and maybe spark a fire that say, man, you know what? I want to do track in college. I want to run this event. I want to do this event. I want to try that because I went to the TCU camp and it was so much fun and I learned so much and they cared so much and they were so motivated that I want to now do this. And so when they end up going to college, and I'm guarantee you some of these kids are going to go to university and college, they're going to compete in sports, they're going to be All-Americans, they're going to be national champions, and they're going to be Olympians. I 100% believe that because right now I was on the Olympic team. My sprint coach Tyrone ran for Great Britain, and we have other coaches that have coached Olympians and medalists in the Commonwealth Games and European Championships and African Championships and all those types of things. I want these kids to look back and say, you know what sparked the interest is when I went to the Nike camp at TCU. Go Frogs.
While men's basketball is training regularly as they prepare for another berth in March Madness, tennis summers look a little different, as Rodidi's players are playing professional tournaments in hopes of qualifying for Wimbledon and the U.S. Open before returning back to campus in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep track. You know, they literally are all over the world. We have a guy in the Czech Republic playing professional tournaments. We have one in Spain. We have one in California playing professional tournaments. Two in Great Britain playing professional tournaments. One in Canada. One went to Greece. So, yeah, they're all over the place, and tennis is a worldwide sport. And you go find the tour that fits your ranking, and the goal is for them to one day be in the main draw of Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. So, and it's happened, and I wouldn't be shocked if a year from now we see Jake and Jack and Pedro all on top 100 in the world, making a living playing their sport they love.
Success continues for men's tennis with Jack Pinnington defeats TCU alumni and ATP 39 world-ranked Cam Norrie in the round of 16 in the ATP Challenger Nottingham. 1-6, 6-4, 6-4. Jake Fearnley gets one final college accolade, the ITA Most Improved Senior, the first for a TCU men's tennis player. Fearnley also gets his first main draw, top 200 win in the ATP Challenger.
It's like any other sport, it's all about confidence. And Jake had an unbelievable year, so he's just riding high in confidence. Jack had an unbelievable year as well. And what he did to win the national championship as a team, beating Spaziri, all that confidence is just carried on. Pedro Vives gets to the finals of a professional tournament, a 25,000 purse tournament, gets to the finals of the first one. Louis Maxted beats a guy 400 in the world yesterday. Jack Pinnington and Jake are playing in a grass warm-up tournament for Wimbledon, and they qualify, beating all these other Brits. And then Jack this morning beats Cameron Norrie, a guy that was top 10 a year ago. So they're riding high, they're carrying it on, and we're just as happy to see that than the national championship, because these guys, they want to be professional tennis players, and to see them make that transition into the tour and winning, it's exciting. It's a lot of work that went into that as well. So we're as happy as we could possibly be right now and proud of our players.
And finally, Roditi and assistant coach Devin Bowen earned ITA National Coach of the Year and Assistant Coach of the Year awards, the 5th program to sweep National Coach of the Year accolades since 1997. Moving on to men's basketball, stay tuned tonight at 7 p.m. for the final installment of Season 2 of State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon right here at frogstoday.com. We will be right back to wrap up the show.
Welcome to the Squire Shop.
We are locally owned and operated since 1994.
We specialize in the finest men's clothing that the market has to offer at affordable prices with unbelievable service.
We do custom clothing all the way to more casual, Peter Millar, Johnny O, kind of everything. Well, my dad's the owner, so I've been around retail my whole life. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's the best boss I'll ever have. I know that.
We love our TCU community. They have been so good to us. Come see us today. Go Frogs!
Welcome back in, Frog Nation. I'm Blake Now with TCU Football.
And I'm Brent Matiscik here from the Flying T Club Studios here at Rockstone Media House. Now moving on to women's soccer, one of the most consistent teams here at TCU and one of the top programs in the country, making it to every Big 12 tournament since 2012, advancing to 6 conference championship games, one of 14 programs to appearing in 7 out of the last 8 NCAA tournaments, one of the 6 teams to advance to the Sweet 16 in 3 of the past 4 years, winning double-digit games in 8 seasons straight.
We are joined by superstars, goalkeeper Lauren Kellett and midfielder Gracie Bryan from TCU Women's Soccer. And now on to the next level to join the likes of Messiah Bright, Yasmin Ryan, Emily Alvarado, Ryan Williams, Jenna Weinbrenner. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us, guys.
Hi, thank you guys for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before we get to your NWSL camp invites, etc., you both just competed together in the TST Women's Soccer 7v7 tournament last week for the North Carolina Courage. The first year the event was held for women. 8 teams for $1 million. Give us some insight on that event.
Yeah, so I can start off. For me, it actually started last summer. I was here in North Carolina playing summer soccer, and we came and played against the NC Courage U23s, and they were setting up for the TST tournament then. And I was like, like that's interesting. Like I've never heard of this before. And so last year was the first year for everything. And it was 64 teams, women and men, all in one bracket. So the women were kicked out pretty quickly. Kind of obviously, but so then this year they were really big on making 2 brackets. So they had a men's bracket with like 48 teams, and yes, this year was the first year with a women's only bracket with 8 women's team. And in my head, I thought they were going to split the $1 million prize, like 500 and 500, but it was a big goal of theirs to make it equal. So the men's side had the $1 million payout, and so did the women's side as well. And so that was my first experience into that. And so being able to play in this first ever women's side was a great opportunity and experience.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I got a call from LK probably a few weeks before it, and she was like, "Do you want to play in this tournament?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is it?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's a 7v7, like we can win $1 million." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So flew out to North Carolina like a week, or yeah, I was there for a whole week, but met all the girls and everything, had a couple of practices before. We only had 2 practices before we played a game. But it was a ton of fun. Came up short from the $1 million, but we were in the championship and got to compete in front of a fun crowd. So yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Well, go on. Were you going to say something else?
Just thanks for LK for inviting me. So we had fun. We didn't think we would get to be on a team together again. We thought that was it. So that was fun for us to get to come back and to be on the same team again.
You both earned NWSL preseason camp invites. How was that? And where are you in the process? Lauren, you are the TCU Soccer all-time leader in goals against average and shutouts. What has that process been like so far?
So Getting the invite in general was a bit lucky for me. So NC Courage, they went down to Florida for the preseason, and they have 3 rostered goalkeepers. One was about to leave for the Gold Cup that was like a month long or 5 weeks long, and then their other 2 goalkeepers got injured their first day of preseason down in Florida. So I got a call from my agent, was like, "Hey, can you go to Florida tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, I can be there. Let me pack up my stuff." Booked a flight for 3 o'clock the next day, and I was on my way down to Florida to meet the team. And then when that like week and a half was over, I was able to fly back to North Carolina with the team and stay in the apartments here and train. And then when Casey Murphy came back, their Gold Cup player, they told me, they were like, "Hey, like you can stay and train if you'd like, but like Casey's back, they're healthy. So it's kind of up to you." And I was like, "Okay, like I would love to stay. It's an amazing environment to train and learn." And so this is actually how TST came into it, because I ended up making a deal with their like back of the house people, saying like they'll continue to pay for my housing up until the day I need to leave, whenever that would be, if I were to compete on their tournament team. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds great. Opportunity to win." But again, like having housing paid for, amazing training. It's just been such a great environment to learn from. Again, like I'm training behind Casey Murphy, one of the U.S. women's national team goalkeepers. And it's just been such a great group of people to be around and to learn from. But
Gracie, you're the all-time assist leader, second in all-time points, and third in all-time goals. What has this process been like for you when you first got the invite to the San Diego Wave, and how's that been going?
Yeah, so was watching the draft, obviously it didn't go my way, and then literally as the draft ended, I got a text, right after it ended, I got a text from San Diego that invited me to their camp, and I honestly didn't really know what that meant. I was like, I didn't get drafted, so I'm not going anywhere. I didn't really know a lot. And so I was, talked to, my people, and they're like so supportive of me, leaving, because for me it was a big jump and scary, because I grew up in Frisco, went to TCU an hour away from home. And so moving to San Diego for me was a very uncomfortable experience. But when I got there late January, I think, yeah, I absolutely loved it. I had such great friends, made some really good relationships there, and the training was amazing. I think the biggest thing was just learning from the girls that I was playing with. And just, when I left, my last day with San Diego was the day I came here for the TST tournament. So when I left, I told them, I was like, to be surrounded by such kindness and talent is something super special. And I think San Diego offers that, and they treated us very well. And I'm super thankful for the opportunity to be there. And I think it set me up for my professional career for sure, in the best way possible. So definitely very grateful for the experience. It was hard for sure, being in a role of, I was a practice player is what my role was. And so it's a very different role from TCU, where you're, starting and playing, all these games, getting awards, to, sometimes you're not really in practice very much, or, you're playing out of position. And so I think it taught me a lot, but I look back and I'm super, super grateful. And yeah, I'm excited for the future. And I learned that I still love playing soccer, because how hard it was some days, I still wanted to go back, and, I wanted more. And so, yeah, I'm just super excited for what's next.
Both of you have a long list of awards and accomplishments and have helped this program to new heights. How has TCU prepared you for these opportunities you are about to be afforded?
I think for me, TCU prepared me in the best way possible. I think the coaching staff really pushed me, but, the team as well. And, I played for Ryan for a long time, and he's not afraid to let me hear it. And so now in my professional career, I'm like not as, sensitive to getting corrected. But all three of them, I think they were amazing to me, and they treated me like, almost like a daughter. Like it was such a family environment there. It was such a safe space. It was definitely a sisterhood within that program, and the girls and just the culture that TCU Soccer embodies, I think is something super special. I committed to TCU really, really early, and I was a little bit scared about it because I was so young. I didn't really even know what college was, but looking back, that was the best place I could have gone, and I'm so grateful for that experience. So
Yeah,
okay.
I would say like the coaches and every single girl that I played with over the 4 years really helped foster an environment of competitiveness. And so I guess, yeah, another side of what's to come is like it's starting from ground zero where we're about to go. And there's no one that's been there for 5 years starter. Like everyone will have a chance to fight for what they want, playing time, position, everything. And so I think TCU really helped me learn how to compete in the right way. Because obviously, like my freshman year, I sat behind Emily Alvarado, which was one of the greatest years to learn from her. And then after that, it was kind of everyone for themselves for the goalkeeper position. And so it really taught me to compete for what I want, what I deserve, in like my playing time. And also, I think it taught me just how to be a good teammate to a bunch of different types of girls. And so, yeah, like kind of what Gracie said, like the culture, like I learned what I like from our culture, like what I want to bring into my new team, leadership value wise, or what I don't want to bring in. And so, yeah, completely grateful for my time there. I loved it. Still sad to leave, but on to the next thing. So
You guys played together since you were 8 years old for Coach Higginbotham. What has that journey been like?
I think it was great. And it's not just me and Gracie. Like, I still love our original Rowdies group so much. And like, there's so many of us that played against each other in college. Like, a bunch went to college. Sadly, some did quit a little early. But it was so amazing to be able to like, even if we weren't on the field together on the same team, we were still sharing that field as opponents. And same with Olivia. Like Olivia was on our team. She was my roommate all 4 years. And I played against her in high school, like district. Me and Gracie played against each other in high school, one of our games. And it was just so great to have such a good community of friends and family. Like I have gotten to know all of the families forever. Like I love Gracie's family, Olivia's family, like everybody that still supports us, comes to our games. It was definitely something special. We were together for a very, very long time. And I think even nowadays, like that club loyalty has dropped a little bit. People like bouncing place to place. But no, being able to grow with such an amazing group of girls was incredible.
Yeah, I think you make such a good point about the family aspect. We truly have a family of us and our sweet parents that have dealt with the highs and lows of soccer for the last, how many years now? Like, 15? I'm going to go like 12 years. Yeah. Yeah, 12. Yeah, 12 years. I think I owe so much. I mean, at least on my behalf, I owe so much to my parents for the support they've given me. But LK's parents, the Hasslers, like the Eccles, there's all these families that were involved in this from such a young age that have just been there to support us. And I think that is so special that, it's more than soccer. It's just these relationships for life. But me and LK, we wish we would have asked Liv Hassler to come play in the TST 77 tournament. but apparently she hasn't touched the ball, so
Since our last game.
Yeah, so, but that would have been a lot of fun. But no, it's been such a special experience. I mean, we're beyond blessed for what we've got in this soccer world, and you know what's to come, and hopefully our paths will cross again and get to play together again. But at least the TSC 77, at least we got to do that. That was a ton of fun. So yeah, just so blessed for all of it.
Gracie, Lauren, it has been a pleasure having you guys on the show. You've made a huge difference and impact everywhere you have been, especially here at TCU. And we wish you guys the best this year and beyond. The TCU season tickets are on sale. Get them now at gofrogs.com. Next up for the Frogs, the kickoff party, July 26th at the Fort Brewery from 6:30 to 8:30. Plenty of food, games, and player autographs.
That will do it for this week's edition of Frogs Today. For TCU Football, the Flying T Club, all of us at Roxo Media House, I'm Blake Now.
This has been Frogs Today for June 14th. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the Carter next year. I'm Brent Matiscik, and stay tuned next week. Go Frogs!
Roxo Media House.